Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Ort Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees. So fair. Today's Monday, the 21st day of February 2022, right here in the Cayman Islands. If you're in the United States of America, you would be celebrating President's Day today as well. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, and I left home a little bit later this morning, and I encountered what many of you encounter on our roads. That is bumper-to-bumper traffic. They call it rubbernecking. Bumper-to-bumper traffic coming down. Just the mere fact that I may have left about 10 minutes later than I normally do. But again, whether you're a pedestrian or a cyclist or operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands, irrespective of how slow that traffic is, you want to ensure that you observe the rules of the road, because the life you save may just be your own. And we're continuing, unfortunately, to see more loss of life on the roads of the Cayman Islands. And that is unfortunate. We have to do something about it. We have to address the issue. It is not applicable only to the Cayman Islands, but we see other jurisdictions as well, especially in the Caribbean, experiencing the same thing. A lot has to do with the influx of vehicles into these islands. Everyone now seeking to have their own personal means of transportation rather than relying on public transport. And of course, the vehicles are cheaper because there are jurisdictions who want to rid themselves of vehicles that they no longer want to have on their roads, and then make them cheaply available to others in other jurisdictions as well. And as a result of that, we're doing more harm to ourselves. We're doing more harm to our environment, not only in terms of pollution, but in terms of also having to construct more roads, using up our valuable land, putting down more concrete, putting down more asphalt, and as a result of that, negatively impacting our environment as well. And during the course of the show, I would welcome those of you who want to talk about traffic in the Cayman Islands to call in and let us have your views on those. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated one over the weekend, a belated happy birthday to you. Those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust and we pray that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you as well. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility, we wish you a speedy recovery. And I have received over the weekend several messages asking me to extend well wishes and a speedy recovery to Mr. Panton's brother, who Premier Panton's brother, who had emergency surgery over the weekend. That would be Mr. Perry Panton, and people are asking me to extend their well wishes to the Panton family as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy and sometimes dangerous roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Ort Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. 9 times out of 10, it is that beautiful voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, and you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. No guests in the studio this morning, so we're going to certainly have open line for you this morning, and we welcome your calls as well. Looking through some of the news here, and I spoke earlier about deaths on our roadway, and the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service on the 19th of February, that would have been Saturday, provided an update on a motorist who succumbed to injuries in the Shamrock Road collision that took place as well. And our sympathies and our prayers go out to the family of that individual as well. Also, there's something that I want to cover on one of last week's show. Of course, we had on one of our shows, we had 2 representatives from the Department of Environment talking about the coral disease and the treatment for it. And some remarks were made in relation to staffing at the Department of Environment. And whether or not those remarks were made by me as the host or a caller, we have received a response from Miss Gina Ebanks-Petrie, the director of the Department of Environment, and I'm going to share that verbatim with you because it is extremely important for us to ensure that we maintain a balance in terms of our discussion. And if something is said on this show that is erroneous or not factual, we want to ensure that we clear the air on that. And I want to thank Ms. Gina for providing a response. And like I said, I'm going to give it to you verbatim. She has written and said, on For the Record, February the 16th, some discussion came up around two guests, Miss Tammy Warrender and Miss Sabrina Weber from the DOE's SCTLD response team, who were on the show Friday, February the 11th. On the 16th, it was claimed the ladies were both from Scotland, which prompted further discussion about the nature of marine sciences and an implied lack of Caymanians in the field. We respectfully wish to make the correction that Miss Sabrina Weber is, in fact, a Caymanian with a degree in environmental science, and further clarify that of our total staff complement of 41 persons, 88% are Caymanians. In fact, of our 8 Marine Resources Unit full-time staff, 7 are Caymanian, and of the 8 SCTLD response team staff, which several volunteers, 5 are Caymanian, including Ms. Weber. Additionally, the director and both deputy directors of the department are Caymanian. Achieving this level of Caymanian employment in a largely technical and scientific department with a range of disciplines has taken a lot of planning and determination, work which began long before succession planning became institutionalized within the civil service. We take great pride in the unique perspectives and contributions of all our staff and are continually encouraged by the growing number of Caymanian students exploring career paths through our internship program in the natural sciences and environmental management. And she ends it with thanks and warm regards, Gina Ebanks-Petrie. And I want to thank Ms. Ebanks-Petrie for providing us with this information, bringing clarity to what the Department of Environment is doing as far as hiring of Caymanians, training of Caymanians, seeking Caymanian volunteers as well. And like I said, I want to laud her, for all of the steps that she has taken as the director of the Department of Environment as well. So I trust that this response will put everything to rest in that regard. We have a caller on hold. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will take the caller, so please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Between 1949 and 1951, health officer Berta Ebanks and entomologist George Gigioli spearheaded the first serious fight against mosquito with spraying equipment and large quantities of the new insecticide DDT. The program was credited with eradicating the threat of yellow fever and malaria. In the later 50s, the program was upgraded with the purchase of the Todd insecticidal fog applicator, which was mounted on the back of a truck and delivered a noxious mist of DDT impregnated diesel oil.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm Zara. If you are students in Cayman between 3 and 16 years old and love reading books like I do, welcome to the first Rotary Central Video Book Report competition. Record your short video, no more than 90 seconds, on why you love your favorite book, what made you excited, or what made you laugh. There are lots of fabulous prizes. Too many to talk about now. For further information and sign up, go to Rotary Central Cayman Islands Facebook page or email david.rotarycentral@gmail.com. Record your book report video and send it by March 31st. So easy, so fun. The Rotary Central Cayman Islands Video Book Report Competition. Rotary serves to change lives.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vamp Motors has 3 great reasons why you should own the Toyota CHR. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven. So there's no need to plug in a hybrid, making it both economical and fun to drive. And you don't have to replace your battery every 2 years. The CHR Hybrid is reliable, providing up to 1 million kilometers on the same battery and engine. Oh, and now you can save $2,000 off the Toyota CHR, starting at only $33,500.
That's way more than 3 reasons.
True, but the best one is that it's on sale now. Test drive the Toyota CHR today at Vamp Motors, Walkers Road, while stocks last.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. As promised, we're going straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning. I am fine, sir. How are you?
Doing well, sir. Almost lost my train of thought. Listening to so many commercials. Anyway.
Yeah, those are the ones that pay the bills. Go right ahead, caller.
Talking about accidents.
Uh-huh.
Okay. If we respect a corner when they approaching, we'd have less accidents.
Yes.
On the approaches corners, as I spoke last week, on the observation of a corner, you reduce your speed before you get to the bend.
Right.
You should never ever brake while going around a bend, you're going to upset the grip of the tires on the road. And upsetting the grip of the tires on the road, you're going to get into a skid. And you don't want to be skidding while going around a corner.
Right.
So, let me back up a minute. Listen to so many commercials.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been on listening to this commercial about 5 minutes.
Caller, you there?
Yes, I'm just getting back to my train of thoughts.
Oh, okay, yeah. Don't forget now the commercials pay our bills here. You know, without those, we wouldn't be able to entertain your views.
Anyway, I'm getting back there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, on your approach to bend, you know, when you get this, all bends have a critical curve speed. And if drivers adhere to these corners, when you get to the corner, if you adjust your speed to the speed limit, you'll make it safely, because all bends have, what I said earlier, you have a critical curve speed. Critical curve speed is the maximum speed at which a vehicle can safely negotiate the bend without side-slipping or veering off the bend.
Okay. Caller, do you? I've seen more and more now where there are bends in the road, there are those arrow signs that are indicating that there are bends there. I believe that we would find that helpful. But what are your views in relation to the lighting on the roads of the Cayman Islands at night? The visibility. And it's not restricted to Cayman. I've been to places like South Carolina where, some of the roads, the back roads in particular, are not well lit at all. But do you have any views on the proper lighting of the roadways in the Cayman Islands?
Yes, I noticed that. But then you should put your bright light on. You shouldn't be driving with them low beam. You should put your bright light on so you have better visibility.
Yeah. But and I understand that you should use your high beams for that. But that is no excuse for us not having well lit roads.
That's true. Then we get back to NRA to inform CUC too.
Yeah, I mean we know it's extremely costly, for it to be done. But then you let the road users pay, for that. People they're bringing in cars by the droves in the Cayman Islands. Ensure that proper taxes, not only disposal fees, but other taxes are paid, other fees are paid for us to maintain our roads, have proper lighting, to have enforcement and everything else. We need to do that. Ensure that those fees that are paid paid there, that they are ring fenced so that they are used for traffic and road users' purposes and not used for something else. But if we want to use the roads of the Cayman Islands, we want to have vehicles on the roads, then someone has to pay for it. And who should pay for it beside the person who's using the roads?
And the area I really want to get at is,
okay,
you're negotiating a left-hand bend. If you're negotiating a left-hand bend, and if you're exceeding the speed limit, one of the laws of motion by Sir Isaac Newton said, let's say you're going around this left-hand bend. If it's too fast, you're going to go over the center line if it is too aggressive.
Two forces, centripetal force and centrifugal forces are at work.
Oh, you're going in my street now.
I used to teach driving at one point in time in New York City, just as a little side earner when I was going to college.
A body at rest remains at rest. And body in motion is going to continue in a straight line. So instead of you following the curvature of the bend, you're going to go over in the path of oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
So instead of you following the curvature of the bend, you're gone over in the lane of the oncoming traffic.
Exactly. The pull is going to, the forces are going to pull you out there. Caller, I'm going to try to grab another caller before we go to our 8 o'clock news. I want to thank you very much for that. I appreciate you calling and continue to do so every morning because I know who you are. You know about traffic, and we certainly appreciate your views. And each day that you call in, if you can raise another point, because one of the things that I want to talk to you about at some point in time also is the testing regime that we have in the Cayman Islands as far as drivers are concerned. Not only the written test, but the road test as well. And what more can we do to educate drivers, to give them more experience before they get on the roads of the Cayman Islands? Thank you very much, caller. Let's grab the other caller before 8 o'clock. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning, Lucy.
Good morning. How are you?
Not bad. I just, I'm calling about the apparent lack of enforcement of number of lights that somebody can have on their vehicle.
Yes.
Because I have seen some trucks, in particular, large vehicles, with sometimes a bank of lights, not just a line, an area in front of it. It's like maybe 5 feet by 3 feet of just lights. And they put them on unnecessarily. And then some of them, they have the lights on top of the truck.
Yes.
Right? So I want to know, what does it take for the police to take them off the road?
I have the same concern.
Is it lack of legislation or what?
I don't think it is a lack of legislation. I think it has to do with resources and where those resources are concentrated. I was looking at one of the newspapers in another jurisdiction, and there's a call there also for vehicles that have these extra lights, on, that the authorities need to do something about it as well. It's happening all over, and it has to do with enforcement. For some reason, caller, it seems as if we in the Cayman Islands are reluctant to enforce, reluctant to impose fines on people because it makes government appear as if they're doing it to make money. What it's doing really, it's keeping people safe.
Exactly, because when you have that level of light coming at you, right, as you get older, right, your eyes are not as good as they used to be. The light is going to blind you. You're not going to see people walking in the street. Some of them walk all in black. They have no flashes, lights on them. You're not going to see them. And if you hit them, you're going to be the one at fault.
Yes.
The other guy with the bright light, he's going to just keep driving.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Right? And I don't know if you, as a host of a show like this, could maybe write to the commissioner and make him aware, if he's not already, that this is happening more and more.
I'll certainly continue to hammer it home here, and I believe that there has been a change now in terms of the leadership in the traffic department. So we will see what that change in leadership, what that brings to the table as well.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, the phone lines will remain open for you to call in. Any suggestions, any topics that you want to talk about, as long as it is fit to be spoken about on radio. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And the studio time by Foster's is 7:59.
It's time to get moving with Quaker for your chance to win at Foster's.
Fuel your body with the power of Quaker Oats to win 2 Huffy bikes and a Fitbit Sense.
That's right, and it's super easy to enter. Just purchase any 2 Quaker products at Foster's from now until March 5th for your chance to win.
We have 6 bikes and 3 Fitbits to give away to 3 lucky winners. So get moving to Foster's.
For more info, go to fosters.ky/get-moving. Fosters, better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the
sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. Public Health reported 166 cases of COVID-19 on Wednesday and Thursday last week. According to the latest figures, there were 83 cases each registered on the 16th and the 17th of February. One of those was in the Sister Islands. 9 people were in the hospital before the weekend for COVID-19, all of whom were unvaccinated. It was a big turnout for this year's 5th annual Youth Mental Health Symposium streamed on Facebook by the Alex Panton Foundation over the weekend. His Excellency was in attendance.
There is no doubt that COVID-19 has had a large impact on all of us. Our routines have had to change, and many of us have had to adapt to a new environment, and we've all faced a lot more uncertainty and worry. And I think it's just so important that today we have a chance to connect our young people and their families with the practitioners, the researchers and the policymakers committed to creating lasting change across the youth mental health sector.
This year's theme was Thriving in Uncertain Times. Panel discussions included the value of mentoring, LGBTQ+ research and data, and inclusion for all. You can watch a recording from this weekend's event on the Alex Panton Foundation Facebook page. And heads up to local parents. If you give your baby Similac, Alimentum, or Elecare baby formula, there have been recalls. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is investigating consumer complaints of Chronobacter, Sakazaki, and Salmonella Newport infections. As a result of the investigation, the FDA is alerting consumers to avoid purchasing or using certain powdered infant formula products produced at the facilities. These include Similac, Alimentum, or Elecare powdered infant formulas with the first 2 digits of the code being 22 through 37, the code on the container containing K8, SH, or Z2, and an expiration date of April 1st, 2022 or later. The FDA is investigating complaints of 4 infant illnesses in 3 states in the U.S. All 4 cases related to the complaints were hospitalized, and Chronobacter may have contributed to death in 1 case. In regional news, shrill whistles mixed with drums, tambourines, and the clacking of spoons on pots were heard as public employees shut down streets in Puerto Rico's capital to demand better pay and pensions. The crowd clapped as demonstrators held up signs reading "Fair Wages Now." It's a call that has echoed across Puerto Rico in recent weeks as government employees and supporters take to the streets, emboldened by thousands of public school teachers who abandoned classrooms in early February to demand raises and better pensions. Protests have multiplied, and the unrest is poised as one of the biggest challenges for the governor a year into his term. Now with the check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. Russia has downplayed suggestions that Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden will hold a summit to discuss Ukraine. The Kremlin said there were no firm plans for such a meeting. Earlier, the US and France said talks between the 2 presidents had been agreed in principle, as long as Moscow did not invade its neighbour. Exchanges of fire are continuing in eastern Ukraine between Russian-backed separatists and Ukrainian forces. Monitors from the OSCE say there's been a dramatic increase in ceasefire violations in recent days. The Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi is in Qatar, the first such visit in more than a decade. Mr. Raisi says he wants to improve relations with Gulf Arab countries. He'll meet Qatar's emir. The Chief Minister of the Indian state of Karnataka has appealed for calm in the city of Shivamogga after a Hindu activist was fatally stabbed. There have been reports of violent protests and arson despite a ban on gatherings. The International Court of Justice will today resume public hearings of allegations that the government of Myanmar committed genocide against the Muslim Rohingya minority. Myanmar's military rulers argue that the Gambia, which filed the case, doesn't have the jurisdiction to do so. A Turkish court has ruled that a prominent philanthropist who's been jailed without a conviction for more than 4 years must stay in prison. Osman Kavala denies spying and crimes related to an attempted coup in 2016. He'll face another hearing next month. And that's the BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
It's in our name. Fried chicken, it's our thing. Others may try, but we have the original. We put the extra and extra crispy. And our secret in everyone's mouth. So if we want to make the best chicken sandwich, we just need to put our name on it. New Kentucky Chicken Sandwich. An abundant triple breaded filet, premium mayo and pickles, all in a buttered brioche bun. The best chicken sandwich had to be KFC.
Government's new recruitment portal offers job seekers a paperless online process that makes it easy to apply for more than one job anywhere, anytime. With this step forward in our online recruitment presence, you can keep track of outstanding applications and appointments and receive notifications about your applications. Visit the careers.gov.ky portal and use the new one-stop shop for civil service recruitment to further your career.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning, everyone. Hello? Hello? Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, I see we have just about everyone, and of course Tom drops off, as per usual. Let's just wait a minute here. He always comes right back, and we're almost ready, and... oh, whoever's dog that is, please go on mute. Why won't it let me share my screen? Okay, looks like we're ready to start.
We're like a video conference with no technical issues. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 79 degrees. Relative humidity is 71%. The barometric pressure is 30.07 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east at 13 knots. Overnight low temperature was 76 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate to fresh winds and rough seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours in association with a high-pressure system over the northwest Atlantic Ocean. Satellite images show patches of low-level clouds moving westward across the Cayman area. Now, the forecast for today and tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will rise to the mid-80s today and will fall to the low 70s tonight. Winds will be east to northeast at 15 to 20 knots, and seas will be rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Small craft should continue to exercise caution over open water. High tide will be this afternoon at 12:18. Low tide tonight at 4 minutes after 7. The sun will set this evening at 6:27 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:50. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Wednesday evening.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning, everyone. Hello? Hello? Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, I see we have just about everyone, and of course Tom drops off, as per usual. Let's just wait a minute here. He always comes right back, and we're almost ready, and... oh, whoever's dog that is, please go on mute. Why won't it let me share my screen? Okay, looks like we're ready to start.
We're like a video conference with no technical issues. CG Britcay. Good like that.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Top of the morning to you. Let's take a look at traffic. Traffic is steady but flowing on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, and busy traffic coming from the Eastern Crew Road, and heavy traffic on Shamrock Road, and busy traffic on the Linford Pearson Highway. Moderate flow of traffic on Owen Roberts Drive and coming from the West Bay four-way stop as well. As we look to Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic is flowing at a good pace. And into Georgetown on Shedden Road looking pretty good, and traffic flowing pretty good as well out of Georgetown on Shedden Road. And on North Sound Road, traffic is moderate in some sections, other sections steady but flowing. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report.
From boat days to beach gatherings, Leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
Let me tell you something. I've been fishing our island since I was a boy, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good catch. Maybe it's because there are so many more people in Cayman than ever before. Maybe it's because of how the climate is changing. I don't know about that. But I do know that I want to be able to keep fishing and teach my children to fish one day as well. So it makes sense to me that we have certain areas and certain times of the year to fish for certain things. This year, a new rule was placed on fishing for grouper that says no one can fish for nass or grouper anywhere in Cayman from December 1st to April 30th while they're spawning. There is also no fishing allowed at all for any kinds of fish in the spawning zones and no scuba diving there either. It feels unfair not to be allowed to fish where my dad had taught me to fish, but I know that being patient now means we can keep fishing for many more generations. We're all in this together, right?
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're back from the news a little bit early. Not as many commercial slots yet, still early in the year. So we have more time to talk with you as well. So we do have some birthday greetings as well. I received a message asking to extend happy birthday greetings to Dr. Hazel Brown of the Health Services Authority. Also, Miss Sheila Henry. They're both celebrating birthday today. And, of course, you know Dr. Hazel Brown. She has been on For the Record as well as other programs on Radio Cayman. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks' talk today as well, talking about vaccines and everything else. A really, another dedicated civil servant, very passionate about her job, very passionate about the health and welfare of Caymanians, but not only Caymanians, of all persons, because she's a health care provider, and when it comes to health, you don't health and care, you really, there are no boundaries, as far as nationalities or anything else is concerned. But she is extremely passionate, and we want to say to Dr. Hazel Brown, have a happy birthday today. We hope the Health Services Authority find it possible to give you a day off today to celebrate your birthday as well. Ms. Susan, I have a message for you also. One of our listeners, Ms. Susan, this listener's asking you if you could play the song entitled All About Love by Gramps Morgan. They want you to play that for all of those who have lost loved ones, and also for people who are recovering from sickness. And they're asking you to play that after your show, after my show this morning. Of course, if you're not on immediately after, I'm sure you will ask you'll ask the next DJ coming along to play that song as well. And I want to thank those persons for that. Also, we have a caller, but before we go to the caller, one of our listeners, and this is a very good suggestion, and I will certainly try to do that, honor this request as well. Just want to make sure I find it, and it has to do with person says, good morning, Mr. Connor. Can we continue the discussion on succession planning, government bonding for scholarship recipients, training of Caymanians for existing and upcoming vacancies, career guidance in the schools, etc.? That's a conversation that needs to continue, needs to be had, and I will kick that off also this morning, share what I know with you, and hope that others will call in and share whatever knowledge they may have on the topic as well. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
I am well, but I want to talk about your traffic business.
Okay.
You know where I live, right?
Oh, yes.
Well, it's a regular, and it's been a regular for maybe a year and a half, 2 years around there. Especially on weekends, on holidays. Any time of the day for those two categories, weekends and holidays. For during the week, you know, Monday to Friday type things, usually after, you know, the workforce from the 9 to 5 people are, you know, on the way out of town or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some cars, and I'm going to just blame it on the young people for now, because I really wouldn't want to believe that grown, supposedly mature people really behave in that way. So I can blame it on the young people, and young people, if it's not all you, please forgive the old woman. But talking about dangerous driving, and it's not if, you know, it's when. If it's a one-car collision, well, some of us would clap our hands and say, well, that's the culprit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they get. But what about the innocent? Cars roar. Sometimes, most times it's just one. Sometimes you can hear two different engines, and they're on the same track, so I'm just assuming that's people racing or whatever. They roar from across the street light on Smith Road, going up Bobby Thompson Way, up Linford Pearson Way. Sometimes they go up to the top of Smith Road and they disappear. You can hear when they get by Husay like that. Now you can, the sound goes away. It comes around, it goes up that back road there, Fairbanks Road, like cross South Soundway, and that will continue for hours. I don't mean half an hour, you know, all 2 hours. They might give it a little break, 5-10 minutes, and they're right back in it. And this is so poignant to me because yesterday evening they were at it again. I hadn't heard them now for several weeks, maybe even a couple of months. But from about Friday, last week gone, they were at it again. They were at it Saturday. They were at it yesterday. And talking about dangerous roads, it's not the dangerous roads as much as it's the people who intend to drive like, you know, there is no tomorrow. And that too is dangerous. But anyway, like I say, that's a problem in my ear holes, because you don't know when it's going to be one of your own, whether they're the guilty driver who don't seem to care, or you know, a victim of that kind of person. But you know, that needs to be thought of by the police.
And caller, I don't know how you feel about this, but based on, you know, what we're hearing from the public, and I think that the authorities, especially those enforcers of the law, as well as those who make policy decisions, they need to appreciate how much the public is behind them in relation to ensure there is full enforcement of the laws, and if the laws are not adequate enough, to introduce stringent laws and regulations to control the lawlessness that is on the roads of the Cayman Islands, the general public, the majority of persons would support the government in any move that they make, as long as it's legal, reasonable, and rational, would support any move the government makes to clamp down on all of the illegal and reckless activity that is taken on the roads. They need to understand that they have public support on this.
And many other things too, not just this. But you know, this gets bloody. You know, usually another person gone, or you know, families can't afford the insurance. Not insurance, because usually they don't have any of that. Families won't be able to support the medical situation. That gets thrown back on the government, which is more money out of the coffers. So I just beg sisters and brothers, aunties and uncles, mothers and fathers, grandparents, talk to your children. And again, I would like to say, young people, forgive me if it's not all you, but I can't see grown adults supposed to be responsible and mature to be exhibiting that kind of behavior on a long-term basis. I don't know if somebody's drunk what they would do, but on a long-term basis, you can usually look forward to them at a certain time of the day, according to what day it is, and on, yada, yada. It's chilling. And I say it's not if, it is only when. But anyhow, that really wasn't a big thing this morning. You know what a big thing this morning is?
Go right ahead.
Talking about, let me continue with the car. I got one little note here. And I got open quotes and closed quotes. Somebody said this, they're bringing in cars by the droves. Then he went on to talk about fees and proper taxes. Listen to me. How about some sensible income taxes? And poor people needn't worry about it, because here how income taxes are structured. If you're too poor, you don't have to pay none. If we want our country to progress, Caymanians, pay your income taxes, because you pay taxes anyhow. And you pay them, and you don't. They're called hidden taxes. Not me call them, so they're called hidden taxes. You don't know what you're paying. You don't know what you're paying it for. When you're paying your income tax, you know what a 2%, 3%, 10% is. You know exactly how much you can lose. And as for food coming in on the dock, or you already pay taxes, yes, you do. But they'll have to restructure that. They will have to restructure that and collect income taxes. That means every jackman who got a job here will have to pay according to the job that they got and the money that they make. We sitting down here like I don't know what, like ostriches and hiding our heads. It has to come. It has to come.
Eventually, yes, no question, it will. And of course, we heard the Deputy Premier give us a preliminary view on what the census figures are going to look like, as well. So,
I don't know, mathematicians don't come out of that. But now I want to really talk about our telecommunications providers. So I got big word for the minister responsible. Let me clear this up. With constitutional responsibility for those services to please help out the poor Caymanian. We got watchdog bodies. I hope that doesn't offend anybody. Or regulating bodies. Let me change that because you got to be careful to be regulating bodies.
Off reg.
There's your program.
I'm just helping you along.
This is your program. Thank you very much for your help, sir. But, Mr. Minister, please help us to find a solution, or help to find a solution for the poor people of this country. We are being nickeled and dimed, in particular by our favorite, Caymanian's favorite telecommunications company. Our favorite. We grew up with them.
Mm-hmm.
We made them big here and elsewhere. I get to understand if you follow the business structure.
1965 they came here.
Okay. And they did well by plenty, you know.
Oh,
they
yes.
did well by plenty
Yes,
of us.
yes.
But
They were the gold.
what happened to this last regime? They nickel and dime us. They give us commercial products that in no way resembles their advertisement. You advertise one thing, and when you get to the sales desk, it's a totally different thing. If they even are aware that this product is on sale today, it's frustrating. But I call it a crime too, because when people spend their good money, they don't get any services. They ship the services offshore, so it's limited what we get in this economy. How many young people in particular or older people are put to work in this way, and then it is us that's paying the bills all over the world. We are helping people's country, and ours. We are being left behind, just nickel and dime. And I ask Mr. Minister to please look at these people off reg with a different eye, and I am not talking about chopping off anybody's hand, but what I'm talking about is supporting them that they can do their duty and do their job.
Mm-hmm. And your concern is mainly to do with more telephone service as opposed to some of the other products that they offer, like TV and streaming services and all of those other things. You basically concerned more about just basic telephone service?
Yes, basically, because you can't live without. You can live without the rest of that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Nobody really wants to, but you can. But you what you call it? You know, you can't live without that hook up that telephone. And my mother is sick. When I need to rush her to the hospital, how I can get it done?
Mm-hmm,
if I don't have a functioning phone,
mm-hmm,
with
mm-hmm.
You know that kind of way. People paying their money and they're just nickeling and diming us.
Yeah.
Really, because we're poor and we can't do nothing else.
And telephone service, just the basic telephone stuff, that has been made so simplified and so cheap. You remember the days when you needed to make an overseas call, you had to first go through a telephone operator and everything else. They don't have to pay for all of those extra services now, so it's extremely cheap. But always in the Cayman Islands, we're the last. If we ever do see these reductions, we're the last to see it. In other jurisdictions, they're competing against each other. They're offering you, so much free services if you switch over from one provider to the other. Here in the Cayman Islands, we don't necessarily have those advantages.
I'm going to have to switch because I can't continue to pay for services and you don't get. Mm-hmm. And at one time, you could ask the overseas operator, well, would you put the service on my phone?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that I don't believe I have it on my phone, but you can't ask them that anymore.
Yeah.
And all the money goes overseas, supporting another economy. We are here left paying the bills for the world's welfare again.
Yep.
And it's so wrong. And right now with the COVID going on, not many people have work. But we need these devices. Like I say, I got my mother that is a sick woman. I don't want to be without a device. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be, and it's not only, they'll tell you, oh, just call 911. It's not only 911. I need just to support me to take care of her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm paying for the service. You don't get anything free. I'm paying for the service. It's a poor person's dollar. Yep. I'm being nickeled and dimed, and I'm not the only one. But anyway, sir, you have a nice day.
Thank you very much for for expressing your views there as well. We have another caller on hold, but we first have to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. And no guests in the studio, so we're having a conversation with all of our guests this morning. And our guests are the devoted listeners to Radio Cayman, the people of the Cayman Islands. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Thank you. The young lady there that called in, and the last lady called in, she is my hero, Charlene, and so is Mr. Mickey Houston. I noticed there are not too many Caymanians calling in that have solutions to these problems. A lot of them call in about the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But she mentioned two things there. I think it was the traffic when I first turned the radio on. I think she was talking or questioning about adults and their behavior. And I think it was about on the road. Was it about traffic?
Mm-hmm.
The way they drive and behave?
Yep.
Well, see, I think it's something radically wrong with people the way they drive on our roads. And they should be evaluated with the mentally evaluation before they get a license. Because like Charlene said, it's a continuous thing with them. You know, so it's got to be something wrong with the brain. Now, she spoke also of the poor people. I can't afford certain things. And she spoke of tax, salary tax.
Mm-hmm.
And it's well needed here. You know, and I look at our insurance for our health, our medical health, Medicare, I'll call it. Why are we paying these large insurance companies to be a middleman for our health? That money should be going straight to the NH health services as a tax. So when you're sick, you go to the hospital and it's already paid through your income tax. Cut out the middlemen. Cut out the middleman, the insurance companies, because they are cutting the money up from the top. And that's why our medical bills are so expensive.
But would you be excluding then people or not allowing them the opportunity if they decide that they want private medical insurance to be able to do that if they want to?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
They can go and take out insurance.
Okay.
But like, I'm speaking of the poor people.
Okay. Yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Give them. You know, we blanket. We use a blanket for everything in these islands. We need to separate from the poor and the rich and cater to the poor. And we talk about the cost of living. Why don't we do food banks? You lived in the States. I don't know if you had it in New York. I had it went to it in Texas. You could go and buy stuff for almost half the price, but it was government funded.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a card and you go there and you buy your food. And that's one other way of bringing the cost of living down. It all comes in duty-free. I hear them debating duty-free stuff, but then it's going to run right back to the shopkeepers, the merchants.
Yeah, they have to ensure that there's some mechanism in place to ensure that is passed on to the consumer, whatever exemptions they allow.
But it's not happening, OT. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff now that's already duty-free, and it's going through the merchants, and it's not reaching the people. So government needs to do something about that. And, you know, I don't say it for everybody, but the poor people that can't afford certain things like milk, cheese, bread, give them a card and they can go down to the store, the warehouse or whatever, and get their meal cheaper than what they're doing at the supermarkets. That's my little piece I have to say this morning. But we need solutions. We don't need no more. We don't need to talk about the problems. Everybody knows the problem already we have. We need people to come in with solutions. And my thing, you know, pension is not doing it for the retirees. We know that. We've seen that. You know, I'm not saying cut it out, but give us another alternative. Give us another alternative of social services, of social security. When we get old, we should be able to lean back on something that is more prudent. Not just with your pension money. When it runs out, that's it. You're gone. No more money coming in. We need this income tax. I don't care what they call it. We're paying up to probably 20% of our salary now for pension and insurance.
Now, when you speak of things like Social Security, we're talking more about future generations than for those of us now who are already retired. It wouldn't really help us that much at this point in time. Now, what we need to identify is if we have situations where a person is receiving a pension. Some persons are fortunate to have a pension for life, and that's basically only within government if you were employed with government at from a certain date where you were in the defined benefit scheme as opposed to the defined contribution scheme. After that, it basically becomes like an annuity where you will enjoy it for a certain period of time, and then after that, it basically ends. Now, what we have to do is we have to have some sort of a safety net for those persons who find themselves that after that annuity has been discontinued. How are they able to live their lives in dignity, until it comes to an end? And that's where the government, will have to step in. We have to bear in mind that, a lot of people knock government and say, oh, government doing this and the government won't do that. At the end of the day, it is the government, the only thing that we have to fall back on to seek any redress is government.
That's correct. But, see, the salary tax or it's Social Security tax is perpetually paid. And how it works, and you worked in the States, I worked in the U.S. myself, and I was young. My taxes that I was paying did not go to me. It went to the older folks that was retiring. And when I get my age, the younger one below me, they are paying into the income tax. So that's how that works.
Yeah.
And it works great. I got friends in Texas right now who are making up to $1,700 a month with the pension, Social Security. Of course, it depends on the level of your income. But we have to do something. The pension is not working. It's not working. Yeah, if you want to go and take out a private pension fund, like an annuity or what you call it, where you can have extra funds when you get old, that's your problem. That's your business. But the government has to create something like an income tax to pay for this Social Security. We got so many old people in this country now who cannot pay insurance. And it's a burden on the government. They are a burden. Anyway, I will let someone else call in. That's my little piece for today.
Thank you.
That's my contribution. Have a good day, OT.
Thank you very much. You do the same as well. And, the callers spoke about wanting to hear solutions, but we also want to hear the problem because there are some people who will identify a problem. They don't necessarily have a solution to it, and they're airing their problem basically seeking solutions, as well. So, we're going to welcome both on this end. If you have a solution to a problem, share it with us. And if it's just a problem that you have, share it with us, and we'll see whether or not we can find a solution to it. Also, Susan, any more callers on hold? Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. It's been a long time.
Yes, good morning. Nice to hear your voice again. Hope all is well.
Yes, thank you. I had a little, just a few days off the island, which I've said this before. I thank the government, especially the health services, for trying to keep us safe, because where we went, it wasn't. You could count the people that had masks.
Mm-hmm.
I've said that before on one of those shows.
Okay.
And we had on masks, and they were looking at us like, I think it was Dwayne show. They were looking at us like, okay, they come out of space, but it didn't matter.
Uh-huh.
It was a nice little break. Saying that, I also want to wish Dr. Hazel Brown, that lady have the energy. I know God gave her lots and lots of energy, and she used it doing a job that many people would not want because of being so busy and on the go all the time. I want to wish her many, many more birthdays and many blessings from our merciful God that continue to give her strength to do the things that she do. And it seems like everywhere, every clinic that I go, Miss Hazel is there and regulating things. So I want to wish her a happy birthday. And on another note, I also want to wish the Panton family, especially Captain Perry Panton, and these blessings and wishes come from Peter and myself. Peter also worked with Captain Panton, a speedy recovery. Solutions, I must say, OC, is that we have a lot of laws, but we're not enforcing them. That's the point. That's the whole. It's good to make laws. It's good for the politicians to put them out there and say what should be done, but doing it is the thing. Enforcing them is the thing. But what has happened here, it's too many. Yeah, but I know this family. Yeah, but that was a good family. Yeah, but you shouldn't do that to him or her because you know which family. That is what is happening. If you were my brother and you did wrong, then you did wrong. You should suffer the consequences. You are my brother in a way in God's sight. You should suffer the consequences for the wrong things that you did. Same thing as I, not bringing in so and so because the family voted for them or the family put an X to them. I heard all the things that were said, or most of the things that were said on this show by some of our representatives, and some of them were right and some of them were absolutely wrong, because you're saying one thing but you're not seeing that these things are enforced. Take for instance the police. Every time that we talk about the traffic on the road like my dear friend that called in just a while ago, Charlene, of the traffic on the road. What happens to us? We add more police. You see them out there for 2 weeks. They're blinding you with the lights. You see them out there for 2 weeks. After that, you don't see them again. You can count it, but we add more police. You see them on little bumper bending thing. 4 cars, especially at night, flashing and blinding other people, blinding the oncoming traffic. Is that what we're looking for? Or are we looking for the speeders that is going to kill innocent people that need to be on the road too, or are on the road too? Or we going to do something and make an example that other people would not do that again? Like last night, my son and I were coming from visiting a dear friend that has been disabled now, a very young man that has been disabled now for over 5 years or more. And 1 to 4 people on motorbike pass. 4 young people. You know they were young. And OC and the public out there, I just said, oh my God, those poor mothers, those poor fathers, because they were like rockets all the way down to our house in West Bay. We seen 2 police cars and both are going the opposite direction. They would have to cross those police cars because that's the direction they were going. All it was zoom, zoom. And you could barely see their lights. It got to be a solution for this. Not only the laws, we make them and we don't enforce them. That's stupidness. That is stupidness. But I'm not going to go on because I could go on about the pensions and like
we're past a commercial break already.
Yes, and I know that, and I'm glad that you gave me the time, and glad to know that. One other suggestion, though, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, you should have just open line for us to voice our opinion and stuff, because we do have some politicians that they claim they're listening, but they really don't listen because you don't hear about it anymore.
Caller,
I thank you.
Thank you very much.
You all have
a great day. Welcome back as well, folks. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vamp Motors has 3 great reasons why you should own the Toyota CHR. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven. So there's no need to plug in a hybrid, making it both economical and fun to drive. And you don't have to replace your battery every 2 years. The CHR hybrid is reliable, providing up to 1 million kilometers on the same battery and engine. Oh, and now you can save $2,000 off the Toyota CHR, starting at only $33,500.
That's way more than 3 reasons.
True, but the best one is that it's on sale now. Test drive the Toyota CHR today at Vamp Motors, Walkers Road, while stocks last.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
It was Thursday, February 23rd, 1905, that Rotary was born. The vision of one man, Paul Harris. Thereafter, Rotary mushroomed beyond the Chicago club of 4 professional men from diverse backgrounds. Today, Rotary is the epitome of humanitarian service above self. Dynamic, active, effective. A global instrument in pursuit of peace. Working to resolve some of the world's most challenging problems. Indeed, Rotary helped to decide the United Nations Charter back in 1945. Rotary works to eradicate dreaded diseases. Today, we are steps away from a polio-free world. Rotary, fueling human development through varied and numerous global initiatives. Happy birthday, Rotary. 117 years of commitment to bettering humanity. From the Rotary and Rotaract families of the Cayman Islands. Rotary serves to change lives.
Government's new recruitment portal offers job seekers a paperless online process that makes it easy to apply for more than one job anywhere, anytime. With this step forward in our online recruitment presence, you can keep track of outstanding applications and appointments and receive notifications about your applications. Visit the careers.gov.ky portal and use the new one-stop shop for civil service recruitments to further your career.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines again because we've had a caller who has been holding for quite a while. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. You just know that I'm online holding and waiting.
Good morning. No.
You know. Oh, see, I got to tease you. You left the Silver Island and went to New York and teach people to drive.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I don't believe him.
Not only that, I had an uncle who was a superintendent in an apartment building on West 87th Street between Riverside Drive and was it Broadway and Riverside Drive, and on weekends I would clean the building, mop and sweep all of the floors where the elevator landings and stuff. The boiler, they would have a one of those steam boilers. They use oil to generate power and steam to heat the buildings and provide hot water and stuff like that. And I would clean those boiler tubes and stuff like that. I went there to achieve a goal, and I did what I had to do to achieve that.
I know that's
yes.
right. I just answer. You hear my OC. I just want to tell me, Charlene and Stan and Charlene, good morning for this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you guys have a good day. I called to talk to you, but time is running up on you.
I tell you what, I have about 7 minutes before we go to the news, and we have 2 more callers, but it's going to be very difficult to take both of those calls within that period of time if I'm going to give them sufficient time to talk. So we'll give you a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about what I want to talk about. I'll call Sterling today and talk to him about that, but it's a little bit long story. It's a good story.
Okay, so you don't want to support my show or what? I'm only kidding. No, Sterling will give you a good show as well.
Yeah, definitely. When you was talking about the traffic this morning, I was coming up, and I'm like, I don't believe this. They were bumper to bumper, unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And going down this morning, it was crazy. Around 6:15, 6:20, the traffic was crazy from far Camel, what the heck is name.
Mm-hmm.
And the traffic just creeping. And when you got up to Burger King and it wasn't nothing up there, so I didn't know what the traffic was doing.
Right.
Sleeping, putting makeup on, or whatever it was doing. But see the cars and the street lights that we got up here is not sufficient. I was on the West Bay Road a couple of weeks ago with my girlfriend, and I mean, you can barely see the road to the fact of not your car light and the little lights that they got up there. See, you got up there, they're not bright enough. And then we got these guys coming up with all these bright lights blinding you. They're all different colors, and their low beam is actually high beam here because years ago they used to change the bulbs up when it comes to Cayman because in the majority of them high beams is like the highways in the U.S. and wherever else the cars are coming from.
Yeah.
But they seem like they're not changing these bulbs up anymore.
Well, the whole technology. The technology has changed. Remember when you dip your light, because we drove on the left-hand side of the road, and in America they drive on the right-hand side of the road. We drive on the left, so you had to change the bulbs out so that when you dip your put your lights on low beam, that it pointed more towards the left, away from the traffic. Now the way that the headlights are made, you don't get that effect anymore. So it's just a high and a low beam, but you don't necessarily see them changing the directions, see the light actually pointing more toward away from the traffic. And then the way that our roads are built now, if you're ever heading, let's say, east on the east-west arterial early in the morning, the traffic that is coming, that is 4 lanes to the right of you coming in the opposite direction, is blinding you as well. Yeah.
It's true. It's crazy. But I went through Southtown yesterday morning. I need to get this out there. I went through Southtown yesterday morning with my grandkids. I was taking them for breakfast. We just driving slow, talking, and then we got further down Southtown. There were 3 officers down there. And I just find out on Friday that my car expired on the 25th. And I'm like, what? And then so the officer stopping in the car, and I'm like, I wasn't speeding. Why are they stopping me? So she put her low meter on my license plate. And then she said, are you the owner of this vehicle? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, do you know that your driver's license expired? I said, what? She said, yes, it expired on the 2nd of January. I said, well, I'm so sorry. I didn't even know you were able to go and get it checked out. But that was good to a degree because a lot of people drive around here with expired driver's license year in and year out.
So did they give you a bly? Did they give you a bly?
Yeah, she warned me, told me to go and check it out.
Yeah.
Bring it up
Reasonable.
And to know that they're going to put the meter on the license plate and pick me up. And she did. They knew that. Well, yeah, I think it was my car. I told them yes, and then he said, "Do you know your car?" When she brought up the name on the ID, I guess, on the driver's license, and she said to me, "Are you the owner?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, they know your license expired. My driver's license expired." I said, "What?" But we need that. And I want to say something else, OC. When these officers are right there and checking vehicles, they need to block off the 3 roads that the cars is coming into town, because what these guys are doing is turning around when they see these cars dropping us. So they need to have them in 3 areas that they can't get away.
Yeah.
Block 3 areas: Cool Road by Mr. Barnes and the roundabout going down to what do you call it? Triple C.
Yeah.
I see cars turning around that the kind of police was there. Trying to pick up people and so forth and so forth. But guys, make sure your driver's license is up to date, because they can tell you now on the road when they run your license that your driver's license expired. So I just want to put that up there.
And I don't know if you've reached that age yet. You know that senior citizens, when it comes to vehicle license, and now I think you get 50% off or something like that. But I'm not sure if you've reached that age yet. You certainly don't look like you've reached that age, but you know.
I'm going to be 66 this year. And then by hand the tax your license, they're not giving you 50% off. But anyhow, thanks for the right. I'll look into it when I go by the license department.
Certainly. Take care. All the best. Folks, top of the hour, headline news at 9 o'clock when we return. We have 2 callers, I believe, on hold, and keep the calls coming in. One listener wants me to talk about succession planning in the Cayman Islands, and I want to touch on that topic as well. Another person wants me to talk about work permit applications, and I have to declare an interest there and be extremely cautious, what I say, because I do serve on the Business Staffing Plan Board, but I'm going to still read the concerns and offer whatever explanation that I can offer as well. And another person wants to talk about the cemeteries and vaults being built on other persons' plots that they have paid for as well. So much to talk about, and I'm trying to give you as much latitude as possible and as much time as possible for you to express yourselves as well. So, folks, rejoin us after headline news. Please stay tuned.
Radio Cayman, the voice, the heart, the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported 83 cases per day of COVID-19 on the 16th and 17th of February. One of those was logged in the Sister Islands. 9 people were admitted in the hospital before the weekend, all of whom were unvaccinated. U.S. President Joe Biden has agreed, quote, in principle to hold a summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the crisis over Ukraine. The talks proposed by France will only take place if Russia does not invade its neighbor, according to the White House. The Kremlin, meanwhile, says there was, quote, no concrete plan for a summit. It's hoped that such talks could offer a possible diplomatic solution to one of the worst security crises in Europe in decades. Australia has reopened its international border for the first time in nearly 2 years, bringing joyful family reunions and a boost to tourism. The country imposed some of the world's strictest travel bans after shutting itself off in March 2020 due to COVID. Australians and some others were allowed to return from late last year, but most foreigners had to wait. There were tearful reunions at Sydney Airport on Monday as hundreds of people began arriving on flights. Those are your headlines. I'm Kersley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. As promised, we're going straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, good. Thanks, Billy Simamba here.
Yes.
It's very interesting that what I want to call about this morning is something that you are going to cover. Like a lot of people are interested in the work permit issues and the succession planning.
Yes.
And the previous caller said something about, well, let's find the solutions, as well as we sometimes just express the problem, but we don't know the solution. So I want, in that vein, to address an issue that I talked about a little bit last week when the Honorable Kenneth Bryan called in, which is the issue of appointment in the civil service in particular. Mm-hmm. Because you recall what he said was, well, look, the motion he had brought to try and create targets for appointing Caymanians to certain positions was not possible because they said, well, the public service management law does not allow a politician to appoint, that it is rather the deputy governor. Mm-hmm. And he's right about that.
Yes.
But that's not an excuse for lack of targets. And I just thought that it is important to elaborate a little bit further from a legal perspective how a lot is possible in that area. Now, I also, before I say what I'm going to say, I was really touched by some of the people who called in last week, like the emotion they showed about how their kids are not getting jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they also need to know what the legalities are, so that perhaps if they can understand that, they can go to their representative and say, well, but you can't give us this excuse, this is the solution. Now, as to the solution to this, a government OC, needless to say, is appointed on the basis that it would deliver certain electoral promises.
Yes.
And some of those electoral promises, some of the principal ones are that they will create opportunities for Caymanians. So, once elected, a government cannot be heard to say, oh, we cannot help create opportunities for Caymanians since we do not appoint civil servants. No. That would be an excuse. It's not a reason. What government is supposed to do is they are in charge of amending the law, and specifically in relation to civil servants. The Public Service Management Act at the moment is the biggest stumbling block to appointment of Caymanians, because in Section 26(1)(f), it says that the only time that you give preference to a Caymanian, the only time you give preference to a Caymanian is if their qualifications are broadly at the same level as that of the qualifications of a foreign person.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't help. And I don't know any other country, including overseas territories, who do it that way. The way it is supposed to be is that if a local person qualifies, they can compete with other local people, or just be appointed if there's nobody else competing with them. And then I think that for the young people who are coming in, it could help to have in departments, I don't know if they have it now, have in departments one or two entry-level positions, depending on the size of the department, so that those kids who are coming back, if I can call them kids affectionately, who are coming back, they can come in with certain positions where they can just get in and start working or compete among their peers of the entry-level positions of Caymanians, so that they can also get a chance. Now,
and that's and if I can interrupt you there for a second, just to say, and that's basically how it worked before many of our high school graduates were going off to college. A lot did work experience with certain government departments. And based on that work experience that they had, it made it easier for them to transition and to get a job with those departments once they graduated from high school.
And that is, in a sense, good to hear, but disappointing in the sense it appears that we've regressed since then.
Yes.
Yeah, now, about how this would work, like between the deputy governor and the government, now, Cabinet can sit down with the deputy governor and say, Deputy Governor, we do not appoint people, but we are responsible to deliver certain promises to our people. So can you prepare a program of targets for Caymanizing positions in government and let government approve it? After that, you will go ahead. You will go ahead and appoint the people you want. We won't tell you that, but we want the targets. And then every 6 months, we want you to prepare a report to be presented to Parliament to say how you are meeting those targets, to find out what problems you are having meeting them. If there's a problem of money that you need, like to provide training or other things and so on to help you meet those targets, we can vote money for that purpose. So that's how you draw the balance. You know, the government is pushing the whole system, but the deputy governor is working with regarding appointment.
Exactly.
Unless this is done, OC, we are just talking, and this. And unless they amend that law, once they amend that law, we are just talking. I think people are suffering. Governments need to act. Successive governments have not done anything. I hope the past government can do something about that.
Thank you very much, Billy. Very, very good suggestions that you made there, and you're actually correct. And I just want to say one thing, in defense of what we do, what we require of the private sector. What you talk about, the 6-month reporting and things of that nature, there's something in the law now where you issue a regulation 6 when a work permit is issued. It may be set in business plans or whatever, and those companies are required to identify a Caymanian for succession and report back to boards within given periods of time. So it is something now, whether or not we enforce it to its fullest is another story, but it is an expectation and a legal requirement that we have for the private sector. So I want to thank Billy for that. Let's go to the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. Minister Brian here.
Good morning, Minister. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. I think Billy will recognize now that I listen to your show quite often because I was listening to his comments and I support his position. And he's 100% right about we are in charge of making the laws. Regardless of what the civil service or the deputy governor's role is, we create the laws and then they have to be abided to. And though he's saying that I'm making an excuse, I don't think I would categorize it as that in respect to my last call. It was more a matter of fact of the current circumstances. I know Billy would recall that I was the member of the Parliament at the time to recommend the changes to the law to mandate Caymanians within the civil service. Now, at that time, during that debate, the Deputy Governor said he did not support that, and the current leverage that they use is sufficient enough to ensure that Caymanians are there, and highlighted the fact that there was 90% of the senior positions in government are headed by Caymanians. Obviously, I wanted an absolute. Now, just to put things in perspective, yes, we are obligated to, are responsible for making those laws, and we can, as a government, through Cabinet, create this legislation to go down to the Parliament, vote on it, and if the Governor, through the Governor's office, chooses not to assent to it, then you have a national problem, because there's a conflict of the representatives of the people and the Governor through his responsibility through Section 55. Now, obviously, we don't want to go down that route, but I can tell Mr. Sabamba that the government will continue to talk about that in hopes that the responsibility through the Governor's office is amenable to the government's position. But recognizing that was my personal decision and my personal choice when I brought the motion to Parliament with the seconder at the time. Now, that discussion has not come to the forefront at this particular point, but I can promise you that it will.
Okay.
In respect to that. So, no excuses from Kenneth Bryan, but more so the facts of the reality of what we face and how do we get there in a positive way rather than it becoming a conflict. Because if the government, through its representatives, is on a different path than the governor's office through the deputy governor, then you have an unfortunate situation that becomes difficult. But I'm sure that we can all find the solution to what the people want, which is more Caymanians obligated by law in the positions of power by way of controlling this country, particularly within the civil service. So I just want to put the context there, because trust me, I don't believe in excuses either. If I can get it done, I'll get it done. If I can't, I can't. It's simply put.
Certainly, right? Minister. Before you go there, and I think what Billy was trying to say also, and I'd like to get your viewpoint on this, that while the governor and the deputy governor they are responsible for the administration of the civil service in terms of appointments and everything else, the political arm of government still has the remit, we believe, to legislate in terms of how those things should work. Not who should be hired, but how the hiring process should go about, whether or not it should be tilted in favor, of Caymanians first and foremost, or any other thing. So I think that is where the clarity needs to be, that while the governor and the deputy governor are responsible for administering the services, the civil service, the policies regarding how that administration goes about, what do we do, still rests with the political arm.
I do agree with you, and unfortunately I'm going to take a little bit more of your time now.
Sure. Go right ahead.
Here's where the problem lies ultimately. We, the people, through its representatives, can say Caymanians and only Caymanians. We can be as strong as we want with that, because that's what you give the power to your legislators to do. Now, when you have a deputy governor who is very adequate in his ability to do the job, tell us that, listen, we would rather have the freedom of being able to find the best person, and sometimes in the civil service viewpoint, the best person for the job may not necessarily be a Caymanian. The public's view is differing than that. So what we have is a bit of a conflict, and you want to resolve it in a positive way, because we have two different sides of power. You have Her Majesty the Queen through the governor, and then down to the deputy governor, and then you have the powers through the people through their representatives. And there's a bit of a differing in views, because if that wasn't a difference in views, we'd have the law that we want today. So I can give the commitment to the public that through the power that they gave me on their behalf, to bring that discussion to the forefront. Now, the hope is that you never have to have a conflict. But yes, this is something that has been talked about before, and it will be discussed again. I can promise Billy Simamba and the rest of the Caymanans that we'll do that. And it's for the deputy governor and the governor to say, listen, this is the will of the people if they choose not to, because ultimately one thing we have to recognize too, even if we say X, the governor can say, no, I do not assent, because the advice that I've been given is that this is not the best way for the civil service to be managed or civil service to be run, or the limitations are not being able to be selective in their own process. That can ultimately happen. If that happens, then you have a big problem.
Yeah.
So we have to have that discussion. I can promise you I'll do my part on behalf of what I think the people want, which is that mandate that it is Caymanians. But again, I'm only one of 12. So it does have to do a democratic process. It has to be discussed by caucus and the majority of the support to put that position to the other half, which is the deputy governor and the governor's office, to see whether that's something that we'll go down that direction. I hope that that's the case. But I'm not the sole decider. It's not the dictatorial kind of government. It's a democratic government. So allow us to have that process, and we see where we go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you so much, OC.
Thank you very much, Minister. Have a great day as well, folks. We're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vamp Motors has 3 great reasons why you should own the Toyota CHR. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven. So there's no need to plug in a hybrid, making it both economical and fun to drive. And you don't have to replace your battery every 2 years. The CHR Hybrid is reliable, providing up to 1 million kilometers on the same battery and engine. Oh, and now you can save $2,000 off the Toyota CHR, starting at only $33,500.
That's way more than 3 reasons.
True, but the best one is that it's on sale now. Test drive the Toyota CHR today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road, while stocks last.
The Work Jobs Cayman Payment Portal has been upgraded. Now customers can upload the application when making an online payment. This new portal feature allows for easier submission of applications. Call 945-9672 or visit www.worc.ky for instructions on how to use the payment portal. The 6:30 p.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by CG Britcay. Insurance, health, pensions, life, where people come first.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio with me this morning, and lots of WhatsApp messages and everything. I had someone on the line, and I'm going to invite them to call in. Our toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255 or 949-8037, 949-6990. If you could give me a call so we could discuss what we were talking about on the telephone. Unfortunately, we came back on there, so I was unable to stay on. One of our listeners has written in and said that certain laws have no teeth. They talk about the Public Health Act fails to address certain problems. They give us an example, the fact that there is an existing situation where 6 vaults have been made in our family plot. We are fighting to get this sorted out. We are told this is the second time this has happened. The remains of our ancestors were dug up, and what became of them? Apparently, the wrongdoers made no contact with DEH for permission to do the vaults and selected the wrong spot. Now we are faced in having to have this serious situation resolved on her own. Imagine now if a family member was to pass away, losing his or her spot in their family plot. Person says, we are trying to have this resolved in a amicable manner, but no remorse being shown by the wrongdoers. Please note that this could be another Mendoza situation. I'm not sure what. Yeah, okay, yeah. Imagine having to fight over what rightfully a plot, what is rightfully yours, a plot that is over 80 years old as well. So we're going to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
I was listening to you, and I heard you saying that you believe that the politicians have the right to say who works in government and government corporations and government companies.
Right, and to make the policy in that regard, yeah.
Oh, see, that is established in the Constitution in Section 16. That has been established since was it 2009?
Yes.
In our Constitution, Section 16. It says that the politicians can pass a law to say that only Caymanians should be working in those positions, and it's not discriminatory. So what's the problem? What's the problem? I don't understand what the problem is. If the highest law of the land, I'm not talking about some law that was passed by some legislature 4 or 5 years ago. The Constitution, the highest law in the land, says that you can do this and to protect your people. Why is it not done?
Yep.
And another thing, but you know, it's not only the drivers that it's not only the drivers that on the road that don't obey the law too. For instance, how long that they have been saying that we will have district councils. What happened to them?
Yes.
Section 119 of the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk over both sides of our mouths, and then when people like myself and other people get up and say, listen, it's time that we put the country into the modern map. We criticize. You know, but the government has the right to do this. It's right there in the Constitution that protects them and gives them the power over the governor. The governor might have the right to hire who, but the people he'll be hiring would be Caymanians.
Yes, if the legislation says, and it would be very unpopular for the governor to decide not to assent to legislation that seeks to put Caymanians first. We're not saying that unqualified Caymanians should be put in positions, but as Billy pointed out earlier, that it is only when a Caymanian and a non-Caymanian are basically at the same level that you are able to discriminate in favor of the Caymanian, and that shouldn't be the case. But I believe that the governor and the deputy governor, and forget about which individuals are in the post now, but anyone holding the position of deputy governor and governor would realize at the end of the day that they are not elected by the people. It's the politicians that are elected by the people, and they're answerable at the end of the day to the people.
Yes, and you made a point just now about it may be unpopular and they may refuse to assent to legislation. Well, you should have preparation for that too.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
yeah.
If they did that, then you know what you do. Yeah. Can you imagine you pass a edict or a regulation in your household to do this and to do that, and then somebody comes and say, well, we're not going to do that, and then you're just going to walk away and close the gate and go down the road and go to the bar and have the next drink.
Yep.
You should have legislation also, and alternatives also if that happens to you.
Right, or plans to move on.
Or plans that you can take off and shake them off and say, well, here's the alternative to that.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yes.
You know, so I just don't understand why this is going on for for years and years and generation after generation after generation.
As a matter of fact, some people would argue that to a certain extent we have regressed rather than progressed. Now, I do understand from a government standpoint and from a business standpoint, and maybe from, but I can't say that there is any country in the world where you're going to use the argument that while we want to hire the best, and if the best is not our national, we're not going to hire them, and we're going to take the best irrespective of whether or not they come from Timbuktu or elsewhere. I don't see that being a logical argument. And it then begs the question, what are we doing then to get our people to the level that we need for them to be so that they are the best? Yeah.
Yes, well, you see, that's the problem. That's the problem, OC. When we send our young people out in the world to get the tools, to get the equipment, to get the education, to get all of the requirements to be the best, when we come back, we push them to one side and we discourage them. Mm-hmm. And so Caymanians will never be the best. There'll never be enough role models so that everybody can say, family can say, I want my child to be like that, or the Caymanian child. I want my child to be like that, or the Caymanian family. That's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So that's not an excuse. If you don't have the best, you hire the best until you can get the best, and make sure that you get the best, because after all, it's your country that you're protecting, and your people that you're protecting.
And we have an obligation first and foremost to them.
Well, a country who doesn't feed its own. Hey, have you ever seen a country yet who doesn't feed its own country first? Its own people first.
Yeah. Doc, want to thank you. Thank you very much for that. Look forward to seeing you hopefully sometime this week as well. We have two callers. I believe we can grab another caller before we go to the break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say
Sure. Go ahead.
Good morning, and thanks to Dr. Matthew.
Okay, thank you. Still enough time to grab the other caller, too. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I am great.
Good to hear your voice.
Yes, thank you. I was just listening there. I missed some of it, but, I caught the part with Dr. Steve.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say, as usual, enjoy listening to him, the education that we get from him. And I just wanted to add my little 2 cents bit to this. I could not agree more with what you said and what he said. And especially, when he spoke about the district councils, that is a question I've been asking also. Where are they? Why hasn't it been done? But why it hasn't been done? For the same reason that those who are elected do not want to now speak or communicate with the people that elected them. That's why we're not going to have district councils, okay? People need to know who it is they're voting for. They need to do background checks. And they really need to know who they're answering to, because it's certain not the people that voted for them. And I know they will chop me off at the knees for saying this, but I am a Caymanian, and I don't think that my speech has been taken, or my freedom of speech has been taken from me yet. And to add to what else you all were saying, this is an argument I have every day, or a conversation, that Cayman is the only country that you go to, and you cannot find a Caymanian on the front line or anywhere else. I've had people tell me they stop coming to Cayman for the same reason. So if they think that's going to grow tourism, they need to think again. It don't matter where you go in this world. It don't matter how poor that country is. You meet their people on the front line. Yes. You go to a restaurant here in Cayman, you don't even have a Caymanian dish on the menu. And you want to sell the country? How are you going to sell it? How are you going to sell it? Who's going to sell it for you? Those people know nothing about Cayman or Caymanians, and they don't care to know. They're here for a reason. They, too, have an agenda.
Yep.
Anyway, I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. One more caller we can grab before we go to the break. I'm squeezing them all in, Miss Susan. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, OC. It's me again.
Sure, Billy. Hey.
But I'll be very brief since this is my second call. But I just want to react a little bit to what the Honorable Kenneth Bryan just said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think there was a little bit of a misunderstanding. First of all, I just messaged him, but I haven't spoken to him since the election, but I'm sure we'll talk at some point.
Okay.
You see, what I was saying successive governments, have failed to deal with this issue, which is similar to what Dr. Steve was saying, that generation after generation, the issue is not being dealt with. In fact, with him, the purpose of my call was to facilitate his fight. He has been consistent about this. He from the time he was in the opposition and now he's in government. So my idea was to say, when people tell you what they told you, that you don't appoint people, you tell them that this is the way in which we can do it so that I can help that fight.
Yeah,
He's a bright young star of Cayman politics. He's done very well for a new minister, and I think he needs to be supported.
And Billy, I don't think that you were suggesting that he was making an excuse.
No,
I think you were generalizing there.
Exactly. I was generalizing. I was trying to say, well, the excuse that he has been given by those who have given him that excuse, they need to understand from him and the rest of us that, you see, that excuse is not good enough. They should be able to pursue that policy and they use it to persuade the other 12 that he needs to persuade. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Billy. Thanks for your contributions to the conversation as well. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the people's station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The 2022 Cayman Arts Festival is pleased to showcase their newest feature with the K Forte String Quartet featuring Sarah Newman, Harriet Henley, Joan Tamayo and Antonio Sanchez, performing Baroque-era pieces by Handel, Bach, Corelli, Vivaldi, Telemann and Purcell. Fall in love with the passionate quartets of the violins, a viola and cello. Thursday, February 24th, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. Tickets are US $40 for adults and $10 for students. For more information or to purchase tickets, please contact enquiries at caymanartsfestival.com or call 922-5550. The K Forte String Quartet, Thursday, February 24th, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have two callers, but I have a WhatsApp message that came in quite early, and I want to share this as well. First of all, I want to declare the fact that I am a member of the Business Staffing Plan Board, so whatever comments that I may make, I am not authorized, nor am I empowered to speak on behalf of the Business Staffing Plan Board. Anything that I say will reflect my personal views and those, and only my personal views as well. So this person has written and said that they want this to be brought up, they would like this to be brought up on the show for discussion. They said, recently I have been associated with a company who made a couple of applications for 2-year work permits that keep getting rescheduled. The applications were put in at the beginning of December 2021. When contact was made with work about the permits, this was their answer. Work permits for business staff for businesses that are executives, managers, CEOs, accountants, and of the like are dealt with by work senior staff. And if the load is too much, the permits are rescheduled. So it could take 3 to 5 months to hear anything. I was also told that the board chairman made that unilateral decision as they couldn't attend the meeting. All the board boards meets now are domestic helpers and the menial task work permits. This is a little bit confusing in that work permits can be issued administratively by work staff, but then you have a work permit board, you have a business staffing plan board as well. Applications coming in December. Remember, there was a transition the latter part of last year from in terms of change of board memberships and everything. But what work staff does and what the boards do are completely different in terms, of approvals. I'm not finding any excuses, for anyone, but a lot of businesses at this point in time are gearing up for the opening of our borders, and we see our borders starting to gradually open up to tourism and everything else. There is a huge amount of pressure and demand, as far as the issue of work permits are concerned as well. I would just suggest to this writer that they should get in touch. She was on the show. Ms. Laura Watler was on the show last week. Get in touch with them. They're not shy to talk to you, to explain what is happening there. And so if you're not satisfied of the response that you may have gotten from at a lower level, reach up to the top and express your concerns as well. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, it's me again, Margaret.
Go right ahead, dear. Go right ahead.
I just wanted to say of your past female caller, the immediate past female caller. Mm-hmm. Good morning to you, lady. And she is always informed, on target, and succinct. Why isn't she a trial lawyer in our country? Because, baby, you got it. Or even a judge, because we never can get judges in mind in your lifetime, But I beg you, go law school. You're still young, old. Go law school, see what you can make out of it. Because, baby, we would do with you what we used to do with Mr. Hercules. Go in, sit down, and he was the show. Mm-hmm. And plenty of people did that. They would go and sit down in his court just for the magic of his personality and the way he handled himself. Yep. And she has the knack for that. She has the knack. So, young woman, go do your thing, baby. Go do your thing.
Okay.
And thank you very much for your contribution.
Okay. Very good encouragement. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, Mr. Connor, I had to call you back.
Okay.
Miss B was on just now, and then she mentioned about tourism, and I also want to hit on tourism. I was at the airport this Sunday. I had some visitors came in that I normally deal with when they come to the island, and Saturday was their first time back to Ireland in 3 years because of the COVID and so forth. And OCD had the companies up there picking up their guests. And OCD, the conversation and how they welcome the visitors to the island is not Cayman at all. They never say welcome to the Cayman Island. Yeah, driver this, yeah. Driver, here you people. And I'm like, excuse me? But that's not just now. That's been going on. I've been working out then I guess before that too.
Mm-hmm. But you would think that we would want to be more welcoming now because we have laws our tourism product for so long that you want to really build those good relationships again, and it would behove any company who has drivers and stuff like that to instruct them that they need to be courteous, they need to be pleasant, they need to be welcoming, because that's where their bread is buttered.
Exactly. It broke my heart to see that is still going on up there. I mean, and like you say, we're just getting back up there and we need to sell ourselves more than ever now.
Yeah.
And some people had rental cars to get. And the owners for these rental cars, or the salesperson for the cars, was not at the airport. And they were not listed on the board that the airport has there. So apparently they must have got some new car rentals up there. You don't come off a plane and wait on a car rental. They should be at the airport waiting on you. You know what I mean? Right? That's bad customer service. And OC, when I was out there waiting for my people, and I saw the groups coming up in 15s and 10s and 8 and 7. They come in wheelchair. They come with cane. They come with crutches with the leg in these big bands and so forth and so forth. And they're coming back to our island. I had to say to the dispatch, this feels like before coronavirus. This feels like Cayman. She said, Ms. Ella, I was thinking the same thing too. It's a good feeling up here today. Because they got more planes coming in. And I'll see the taxi with us rolling, picking these people up and taking them where they have to go. And it was a good thing to see so many people coming back to the island.
Yeah.
And my people, when they finally came out, they said that they was in there for an hour and a half waiting to try to come out because there's so many planes in, I guess, at one time. And they had something like some sort of machine where you could check yourself out or something. She said there was a lady there showing the elder people helping the elder people. And all of a sudden the machine was empty and the lines are still long. So she said she came with the line to say, can we use this machine? The lady said, sure, you can use the machine. She said, if they didn't use the machine, they wouldn't have got it the time that they got up. It's busy. And said, I said, right now, we can need another airport, or we can have to open our airport 24 hours a day. Well,
I see where at least the general aviation is separate anyway, but I see where some proposals or requests for proposals or something like that is going out in relation to the general aviation terminal as well for private planes. That should help also.
No, the private planes goes down to those.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the commercial.
But the main terminal, yeah.
Yes, the main terminal. Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy, but see the visitors of an island. It was a very busy Sunday at the airport.
Well,
Saturday.
I hope and I trust. They say you never know what you have until you no longer have it, until you lose it. So I hope now that COVID has taught us a lesson, not only with the tourists coming in, but with all of the products that we have to offer as well, our environment and everything else, how important it is for us to cherish those, to preserve those as well, because sometimes when it's gone for good. In this case, we're fortunate that our tourists are back. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. I'm going to try to grab another caller before we go to our next break, because after this caller, I'm going to close the phone lines off because I want to share some things with you about succession planning as well. Please stay tuned. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor, Mario Iban.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Very good, very good. And good morning to all the listeners. And also I want to just send sympathies to all of those people who are bereaved by the tremendous increase in deaths in our community over the past months. Mr. Connor, OC, I heard you said earlier that you want to talk about succession planning. And I hear you say you're going to talk about that. when you go off the air here now. I mean, once you finish the calls.
Yeah.
I just want to talk a little bit about that subject, if you can give me a few minutes.
Okay.
Take very long.
Sure.
But I was looking forward to hearing the discussion, and I'll keep tuned in so I can catch what you're saying about succession planning. But succession planning is very good that you in particular seem to also be championing that cause and that discussion, because it requires a good discussion, and it requires strategy and vision for a country, because succession planning really is critical to nation building. It's critical to the future of this country. And as a HR professional and consultant myself, the area of succession planning, learning and development, and all that is part of the things that I do in the private sector and public sector.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, as you know, this all starts from the need for a proper skills needs or a manpower needs survey to understand what we need for the country in the development of the country, whether it's a 10-year plan or a 20-year plan, looking at how careers are changing, forecasting how things are evolving, and then the skills that we need. And once you have that kind of assessment done, then you have your development plans that people in the public sector or the private sector can then be developed to meet those needs. But what has to tie all this together is a proper government policy, a strategy and a vision to pull it all together, because it can't be done ad hoc. It can't be done by one agency, whether that's work or whether that's labor or whether that's... It has to be a holistic, aligned kind of strategy if you're going to have proper succession planning, whether that's in the public sector or the private sector, whether those two are separate or the two are together in terms of your overall strategy. I believe also that there's a need for some agency to align and coordinate that very important subject, because as you know, and you've been in immigration and you've been in labor for a long time, you know that the issue of Caymanization, skills development for Caymanians, and Caymanians being able to be retained in workplaces, and also work ethic and all that, those are very, very difficult topics, and it cannot be done by a whim, and it's not for the faint of heart. It's going to take a sustained effort, right?
Yes.
And I proposed something called a Human Capital Development Agency.
Yes.
Which you and I talked about last year during the campaign, during my appearances on your wonderful show. And also I did a paper on it, on the same subject, at the Roy Bodden Symposium last year, and that paper is going to be coming out in a book.
Excellent.
It's going to be put out in terms of the books of essays and papers from that survey. So you'll be able to also read more about that. But I think that that area of succession planning, like I say, it needs to be. I want to leave you by saying it needs to be thought out properly strategized with a vision and strategy, and government needs to set out exactly where it wants the country to go, what the milestones and benchmarks are. But it needs to also be tied in to the business staffing plan conditions. You sit on the board, business staffing plan board. I sat on the board years ago as well. And some of these business staffing plans have conditions attached to the plans, but whether those are being properly shepherded, stewarded, and enforced is another question. It also needs to be aligned to the scholarship secretariat. Scholarships are given to people, but there's no alignment or accountability to see that those students are actually shepherded, and when they come back to the islands, that they got jobs that are earmarked for them and that they're prepared to do. And also, the final thing I want to say is that the immigration or the employer accreditation system, which is something that's been proposed from way back in 2004, 2005, is another important part of the bulwark that will pull this succession planning thing all together. So I look forward to hearing your thoughts. I just want to share a few of mine this morning, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about this important subject, but not just talk, but to bring about solutions and long-lasting solutions, because otherwise our younger generation, Mr. Connor, are going to rise up, and they're going to be a revolution if this country does not deal with that.
Certainly.
And they have to deal with their issues too,
Yeah.
but we have to set the right policy. I'll leave you with that.
True. Thank you very much, and look forward to having more discussions with you on this as well. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay.
No one can stop me when I taste
Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Radio Cayman News.
Prices at the pump are back on the rise.
It is the first automarker COVID-19 antibody immunity test this side of the Atlantic.
Public Health says the new Omicron variant, BA2, was discovered in Cayman on February 3rd.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. Dr. Hazel Brown, more birthday greetings coming in to you as well. Jeffrey wants to wish you a happy birthday as well, and wish you many, many more. He says that you are a gemstone, and asking the Lord to bless you. He's also wanting to extend best wishes to his classmate, Captain Perry Panton, and wish him a speedy recovery, and that he has been praying for him and his family as well. Those are coming from Mr. Jeffrey Wood. So, the succession planning, defined by some as the mitigating process of preparing for the loss of critical personnel in an organization, thus not waiting until an employee has departed before planning an successor will ensure that the role of the position remains intact. So, why is succession planning important to government? Effective succession planning in government is an ongoing dynamic process, not a static one, not a static one-time objective. It not only empowers employees to achieve their professional goals, but also supports organizational goals. It's essential in today's competition for talent. So why do governments need to ramp up succession planning? There are many reasons, for that, including a social contract that they have, with people to ensure that the government is looking out and addressing their needs. In our particular situation, let me share this part with you. So we have heard people talk about this issue. One of the questions to be raised is, while government has an obligation to seek the best talent for the roles that they have, how do you balance that obligation against the obligation that you have to the people of the Cayman Islands. And when I say government, I'm not talking about the elected government. I'm talking about government in general, which includes elected as well as the technocrats. That obligation that you have to your people to ensure that they are either employed or that opportunities are given for their employment. Now, I know, like I said, in the past, there were many processes in government, many programs, some ad hoc, work experience. Children who are still in high school, due to graduate, get their work experience. Now the competition is out there for everyone. Those individuals who would normally gravitate to the work permit process, would normally be employed in the private sector, are now seeing the benefits, the opportunities available to them when it comes to being employed by government. One of those benefits are, while a Caymanian may be hired on a contractual basis, but it's an open-ended contract, non-Caymanians are hired on a fixed-term contract. But here's the upside to those fixed-term contracts. They can be renewed. And when they're renewed, government doesn't have that obligation like the private sector, where you're term limited in government, where after 8 years in the private sector, unless you acquire permanent residence, then you have to take that break. Not so in government. So that will make, government employment attractive as well. Government hiring. Private sector, a lot of times it is not what you know, but who you know. If in the private sector the HR positions are held by non-Caymanians, then the chances are, and I notice what I used, the chances are that those non-Caymanian HR professionals are going to be, they're going to have family, they're going to have friends, they're going to have colleagues. And they are more than likely to favor them in a job application as opposed to a Caymanian. We hear anecdotal evidence. We get anecdotal evidence of that happening as well. So, again, things in the private sector are not necessarily tilted towards Caymanians. Now, don't get me wrong. There are companies out there, and this is what the Deputy Governor talks about when he talks about the accreditation system. There are companies out there who make a conscious effort and a conscious decision to employ Caymanians, to have them move up the ladder once they show potential and once they show an interest as well, and we want to applaud them for that. But there are companies out there who are adverse to hiring Caymanians, and they find every excuse in the book to do so as well. You heard the Deputy Premier talk about temporary work permits, and there will be some changes in legislation as far as temporary work permits are concerned. Some people, and I would say rightfully so, see temporary work permits being issued as giving the individual, the holder of a temporary work permit, the inside slot on that job as a permanent one. So here is what I believe that needs to take place as far as temporary work permits are concerned. Temporary work permits should be issued only for genuine temporary employment. What does that mean? That means that the person is here to do a specific job, and if it's for 30 days or if it's for 60 days, once that job is completed, they leave. No application for a permanent work permit should be entertained for that person. Now, there's another side to that story. A lot of employers use the temporary work permit system simply because they see it as the quickest way of getting a work permit. So on the administrative side of things, as far as work and the boards are concerned, their processing process needs, and I'm using the same word to describe another, but their processes need to be such that they can expeditiously handle those genuine annual work permits so as not to give employers the excuse of we need temporaries because it takes too long to get an annual work permit. More to be said on this. I'm hoping one of these days, not too far in the future, to have Mr. Mario Ebanks on the show to talk more about this as well. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brother's keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want, or even those who crave. And before I say to you, have a great day, just want to put it out there that some persons have a concern about the airport park and some light pole or electrical pole that may be severed and there may be wires hanging on it, and some incident may have occurred where a child may have touched it and gotten an electrical shock. So whomever is in charge of the park, the play park at the airport, that would be opposite Foster's. Someone needs to look into it because we wouldn't want anyone to be seriously injured at all, in relation to that. So whoever's in charge, please look into that. Have a great day, and God bless.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Moderate to fresh winds and rough seas will continue across Cayman for the next 24 hours in association with a high-pressure system over the northwest Atlantic Ocean. Our forecast calls for a 20% chance of showers and temperatures rising to the mid-80s. The Beijing Winter Olympics came to a close on Sunday in a touching ceremony. Almost 3,000 athletes competed in 109 events across 15 disciplines during the past 2 weeks. International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach called for political leaders, quote, around the world to be inspired by the athletes and their example of solidarity and peace. And royal officials say the Queen is working on light duties at Windsor Castle this week despite testing positive for COVID. Buckingham Palace confirmed Sunday that the 95-year-old was experiencing mild cold-like symptoms. Light duties include reading state papers, which usually takes up a significant chunk of nearly every day. The BBC correspondent said there was a sense that it will be, quote, business as usual as much as possible for the Queen. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
RC Fusion.
Brought to you by TCE Paint Shop has 3 locations to better serve your home